Zomga, best episode ever, so awesome, 10 out of 10, best episode ever. Alright, now that I got that out of my system, I'll try to restrain myself, because I'm frustrated right now. What? Oh, it's not to can my excitement. If my admirable animations are any testament, I'm pretty good at canning my excitement in the face of true greatness. Look, I'll come right out and say it. With some of the criticism launched at this episode, I seriously considered making this review a straight-up response video. I understood the heavy criticism launched at Daring Don't, and at Easy Being Breezy's, and even Equestria Games, but I'm kind of at my limit. No, I'm not expecting every critic out there to, like everything, or even like anything. But for one, I'm expecting every critic to at least watch an episode twice, and not come to work under the influence of alcohol, but all of this extreme negativity, it's just getting very old and very depressing. Huh? Do we really need the points thing? This episode is flawless. No, really. I can find pretty much nothing wrong with this episode. I'm dead fucking serious. The episode starts with the main six entering the Crystal Empire. Twilight is apparently here on royal princess duties that seemingly come out of nowhere. It's almost like after 26 episodes, she's finally realizing how little bearing it actually has on her life. You know, like a normal person would after seemingly important change happen to them, and nothing really changed. It kinda makes no one treating Twilight like a princess, and the majority of the other episodes this season make perfect sense. Hey look, it's Flash Sentry for no reason whatsoever. The royal duty that Twilight has to do is pretty much unfurl a banner, something that could very easily be considered the straw that broke the camel's back. But seriously, the dialogue here is to reinforce the fact that stuff like this has been happening for quite some time. Like Twilight presiding over a festival, where her duties hadn't been used. Like, ever. Hey, it's almost like the Pinky thing, just, better. Sometime later, the dignitaries leave, with Twilight finding her visit rather meaningless. And then we get a song that is absolutely fantastic. Hey, looks like the Snark Knight is back. The same way that I like the Smile song, despite it delaying the start of A Friend Indeed for about 3 more minutes. Funny how literally every other Pinky episode can do that without a 3-minute song. But, since you're so interested, let's talk about this song specifically. For the first part of the episode, Twilight's been thinking that her princesshood is useless. This song is the other princesses reassuring her that that's not the case. How the fuck is that redundant? Yes, the choreography sucks. I think that Megan McCarthy thought that she could let that slide because all 3 fucking princesses are singing at the same time. Besides, the choreography is still better than BBFFF. Ooh, floating disembodied heads and clouds. But seriously, those complaining about the redundancy of this episode are only listening to half the song. It's not even a hidden meaning or requiring intense thought, and personally, it's my favorite song of the show. We cut to a dark alley where some stallion is carrying a basket of fruit. He bumps into the Pony of Shadows? Wait, could it be? That would be interesting. Oh wait, it's just Rafiki.
I will take what should have been mine long ago.
Oh, Rafiki never did that. But in all seriousness, Tarek is the best villain that the show has had so far. Megan McCarthy is not good at making her own villains, but she seems very good at utilizing the villains that others have created. This attack gets Celestia to wake up in horror, so she tells Twilight the backstory. Tarek and his brother Scorpan came to Equestria in an attempt to conquer it, but Scorpan pretty much fell in love with Equestria. Since Tarek didn't, Scorpan told Celestia and Luna, and they banished Tarek to Tartarus. During the time that Cerberus had escaped in It's About Time, Tarek had escaped.
Why is he just now starting to steal magic?
His time in Tartarus left him very weak. He has just now gained enough strength to use his dark powers.
And if he is the Pony of Shadows, that's why he didn't attack in Castlemania. Celestia decides to send in Discord in order to stop Tarek. Hey, the plan and keep calm and flutter on actually makes some sense now. Doesn't excuse how hand-waved it was back then, but I actually get it now. Twilight is still depressed about not really doing anything as a princess. No, for the love of God, we are not talking about that. She and her friends go to the castle of the 2 sisters to burn some time, I guess.
We had to give back the elements. It'd have to be done or the Tree of Harmony wouldn't have survived.
You guys want to remember that for me? Most of the critics seem to have forgotten that. Discord pops in all Mary Poppins style. We got some of the usual good comedy, and he hands them the journal. He seems to be just as curious as to what's inside the box as everyone else. He says this because even he's figured out that Twilight was unsure that being a princess was really important.
My, is eavesdropping not the way you're supposed to find out what your best pals are up to?
Wait, it isn't? Discord bookmarked each of the pages in the journal where each of the main 6 got their keys. Well, all except Twilight, who still doesn't have her key. Twilight decides to do some research, but none of them find anything until they actually decide to read the journal. Meanwhile, Tarek is absorbing all of the magic. Discord and Tarek have a standoff. While Discord has the upper hand with his powers, Tarek seems to have the upper hand with his charisma. Is this how he was in Generation 1? I have absolutely no idea. I kinda feel weird that the first generation is the only generation that I have yet to watch. Tarek offers Discord something apparently greater than friendship: freedom. And I will say one thing about this episode. It makes me wonder if some of the previous episode's problems were intentional. Was it intentional that Twilight wasn't being treated like a princess all season? Was it intentional that Discord's reformation was rushed? Or did Megan McCarthy just decide to capitalize on an opportunity? Considering that she's an insane genius, all bets are off. Twilight figures out that each of the journal entries came up with an item.
But being loyal to my friends was way... Oh, my turn!
Was that intentional? Either way, that's totally hilarious. And no, this isn't redundant because it has never been outright stated that these items were keys, and the characters didn't realize it until now. They gather the items, and when Pinky accidentally throws Boneless at the box, it turns into an actual key, further cementing my theory that this box was actually made by Sierra. They all turn their objects into keys, which just leaves Twilight's missing.
Think, Twilight. When have you completed a difficult magical task, and in doing so, encouraged another pony to do the same?
Does Magic Duel count? They get a letter that demands Twilight and Canterlot. Apparently, Celestia knows that Discord has allied with Tarek. This has given Tarek the ability to steal flight and Earth Pony magic as well. And now he's going after Alicorn magic. Celestia's plan is to give it all to Twilight. Can I just rant about this? Usually with complaints that I find unfounded, I give a good objection and I go on my way. But this is a situation which I only need one word to disprove all the claims against this particular moment. That word is desperation. Take a look at the situation here. Discord is someone who Luna and Celestia defeated only with MacGuffins that no longer exist. Tarek is someone they needed Discord to fight. There is no way for them to defeat Tarek. The only two options here are to sit and wait for Tarek to take their powers, or prolong the inevitable. It's the strategy game equivalent of running around the map with the only two mooks you have keeping you alive. I'm sick and tired of people treating this like that moment in the season opener when Applejack sent Twilight away out of nowhere, and for no good reason. It's the best bad option that Celestia has at the moment. The point is to stay hidden, dipshit. So they give Twilight the giant Powerball, and Discord senses a disturbance in the Force. Don't you read in between the lines? There's plenty of evidence supporting this being a plan by Discord to open the box. Yes, Discord is a magnificent bastard, and they read his book. So Twilight goes home, and we have some comedic moments that aren't intrusive to the story at all, unlike the Pinky moments from the season opener. Tarek eats Shining Armor's magic and sends Discord off to do what he wants, before he confronts the princesses, which means that he is powerful enough to defeat them without Discord's help. So yeah, that really was the best choice they had, putting their magic into hiding. It's a bad choice, but it's the best choice they had. I'm not reading in between the lines or anything. This stuff is right in front of our faces. So Twilight tries to gain better control of her magic, which catches her friend's attention. Twilight tries to get them to stay calm. Meanwhile, Tarek gloats in front of the princesses, and unlike, say, Chrysalis is gloating, it's not intrusive because he's pretty much already won, and he's not gloating in front of people who could stop him. Then he throws the princesses into Tartarus, and he gives Discord his brother's amulet as a sign of friendship and loyalty. Through a stained glass window, Tarek learns of Princess Twilight.
Reflection.
No. Look hard.
Celestia was working in desperation, which was bound to have a few oversights. This being a plan by Discord, he's actually lying when he said that he didn't change it. Pick one! So Discord comes back to Ponyville and traps the main six.
I really did it.
Easy come, easy go. But seriously, Discord looking away while the main six are being eaten makes it seem even more certain that this is some kind of plan by him. However, his own magic gets eaten. Hey, not even Discord's plans are perfect. Unless, you know, this was a part of the plan. Twilight is practicing her magic until Tarek finds her, and then we get one of the most intense scenes of the whole damn show. A fireball is shot at the library, and it explodes.
None of those ponies had anything valuable enough to trade for my books. I may not ever need to read these again, but that doesn't mean they don't have value.
The only thing that library ever symbolized was the $19.95 you could spend at Toys R Us. If a pair of wings didn't change the show, Twilight changing a place of residence ain't gonna change the show either. But I honestly can't tell if this is supposed to be a joke. Twilight gets really angry and starts fighting Tarek. And yes, I can believe that destroying all Twilight's books would give her enough anger to completely control her magic instantly. I'm not joking. You've never watched an anime in your life before, have you? You know, that medium with gratuitous battles in every other episode? But seriously, I've heard it claimed that the deal at the end could have gone down immediately. You know, with neither of these characters knowing each other's strengths. It's times like these when I have to wonder if I've been watching the same episode as other people. Look, no hero worth their salt would ever give up the fight at the word go. The animation here is astounding, and the entire scene is intense. Because Twilight would have fought even harder to save her friends and might have beaten Tarek. Because Tarek wouldn't make a deal if it was unnecessary.
Aren't worth it.
I had magic and friendship, and now I don't have either.
Each of the bubbles gives Twilight a part of a rainbow thingy, and she frees each of her friends. Tarek eats her magic and flies off. Discord gives Twilight the amulet as a sign of their friendship, and it turns out to be the final key. They open the box and get some sort of weird rainbow power. You know when you're playing a video game and you defeat the final boss, and it turns out that they have a second form that looks positively ridiculous? Yeah, that's kind of what I feel here. Do you even know what a Deus Ex Machina is? It's something that comes out of nowhere and saves the day. I.e., not something that's been built up for the entire fucking season. Now for the rainbow power itself, I don't care. It's not important and it's not on screen for long. Yes, it's an obvious toy play, but after how awesome this episode is, Hasbro deserved it. Then everything wraps up nicely and the box is nice enough to give Twilight a new house. Give him time, he'll get over it. Yeah, whatever. Each of the main six and Spike have their own throne. They forgive Discord, and we have a final song that reminds me a lot of A Kingdom for Keflings, which can only be a good thing. So that was my new favorite episode. No, that is not why I was so anal and defensive of this two-parter. Look, I don't care if you're going after Pinky Pride or putting your hoof down. If you can't go deeply enough into an episode to organize your thoughts, then you shouldn't be talking about it at all. Nitpicking is not funny or cathartic or cute or whatever. It's annoying and tedious. Lately, the Brony analysis community has gotten a bad reputation for being overly negative and nitpicky, and it's not entirely unearned. The pleasure of enjoying something far surpasses the pleasure of critiquing it. That is the philosophy that I built myself on. Do you think that I like giving any episode a failing grade? No, I'd love to enjoy Power Ponies or Ghostbusters. No, I'm not saying that at all. That'd be stupid and hypocritical, especially since there are 17 episodes that I personally have a negative opinion on. When you look like you're having more fun ravishing a bad episode than enjoying a good episode, you will inevitably fail. If you come across as bitching for the sake of bitching, then you failed. You want a tip? Try to figure out what a bad episode does right, or at least give the impression that you're trying to. Don't be dismissive. I don't care if you found the fight scene pointless filler. You should at least talk about it, or don't be surprised when people blast you for having an opinion that you didn't back up. Believe it or not, making this review required me to bite my tongue so hard that it's fucking bleeding. Personally, I've done some stupid shit on this channel. Some intentional, some not so much. You two dumbasses. You want to start at the bottom? You'll start at the bottom. Whose idea was it to put them together? Charlotte Fullerton passed the episode off to Meriwether Williams because her husband's recent death put too much strain on her, son of a bitch. And trust me, there's nothing more embarrassing than going into an angry rant over something getting a fact wrong, when you yourself have gotten the fact wrong. Because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be making videos in the first place. Weird that I started doing this shortly after Magical Mystery Cure first aired, isn't it? There's a difference between being negative and nitpicking. If you've asked why to something that an episode presents, you have to ask, why does it matter? If you can't find a good reason, then drop it from your review entirely unless you can make it clear that it's only a personal problem. When writing a script, follow-up questions are your friend. What's the ultimate difference between being negative and being too negative?
It's all subjective.
Just don't be pretentious, that's the key.
If your audience has an opposing opinion, they should not feel alienated or like the enemy. Obviously, most of the time you're not going to be able to tell that until everything is said and done. But if you've cultivated a respectable audience, they'll be sure to let you know. And you have to be sure to learn from it. There is one thing that I ask for in a negative review. Just one solitary thing. Let me know that you care. Even if it's the worst episode that you've ever seen, go into it with the best of your abilities, or at least pretend to. If you don't care about what you're reviewing, either positively or negatively, then why would I care about your opinion? Also, remember that the trope is accentuate the negative, not exaggerate the negative. All I'm asking is to stop being the snark knight. If I ever do that, you have my permission to pummel me with a stick in the street. Fuck it, you know what? It's worth it if it means keeping myself in check. And Tarek throws the princesses into tartar sauce. Shit.
This is the role I meant to play as a princess of Equestria. I will not fail to do my duty.